This was to be my first experience of travelling alone and joining a small group adventure holiday. Also, my first visit to Morocco, or indeed anywhere in Africa. And as soon as we arrived at the hotel and looked out of the window, it was clear we had arrived somewhere very different from home. Our group of 12 soon started to get to know each other, and also Karen, our trip leader, who proved to be a very knowledgeable young lady. We were starting the tour in the city of Fez, the most complete medieval Islamic city in the Arab world. Karen had recruited a local guide to help us through the maze of alleyways that made up the Medina, much of which is unchanged since the 8th century, and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
In the Andalus district, there are just two things to see, some monuments.
One of the first places we were shown was the Ben Youssef Madrasa, a college for Quranic studies built in 1350.
For Meknes is green, for Kasbah.
We could see that part of it was still in use by students.
And it is close by to the river. Because they use sometimes water here from the river.
Leaving here, we followed the crowds past the various souks, stopping to watch the artisans and craftsmen. And we even had a chance to get weighed before exploring further into the Medina. Of course, we had to be taken to the local carpet emporium in hopes that we might buy one. They certainly were very beautiful. And the mint tea was most refreshing.
Then never you find two similar, one different to the other. Then the advantage, you can put it on the floor or you can hang it on the wall.
At least some of the carpets were definitely handmade, but I'm afraid none of us bought one. Next, we followed our noses and a pile of leather hides to the most spectacular site in Fez, the Tannis Quarter, an area which has hardly changed since medieval times. The men and boys here are treading their skins in earthen vats filled with chemicals or dyes, working in a heat and stench that we would find intolerable. Finally, we are encouraged to buy one of the lovely finished products. The craftsmen we see next are creating great lengths of beautiful hand-woven cloth, using looms of a time-honoured design.
Wool and silk.
We leave the Medina through the monumental blue-tiled gate, the Bab Boujeroud, and cross the square to see the ornate gateway to the King's Royal Palace, with its intricate mosaics. Finally, we have some rest and a night's sleep before visiting the well-preserved Roman town of Volubilis, which at 2,000 years old is the finest and the most romantic archaeological site in Morocco.
This is wanted to kill the Minotaur in a labyrinth. Ariane knows well the labyrinth.
Is it a stage show?
Leaving here, we followed the storks and the donkeys to our next city, that of Moulay Idriss. Despite its picturesque alleys, we are not allowed to enter the famous mausoleum and must be content with looking at the entrance gate. From Moulay, we move on to Meknes, first visiting this enormous granary, which was built to store grain for 12,000 war horses. Understandably, it is a much sought-after filming location. After the water seller had offered us his wares, we were allowed to visit the mausoleum of Moulay Ismail. But once shoes had been removed, there was to be no more filming allowed. So soon we were back outside to wander around the market, absorbing the atmosphere, the colour, the sights and the smells. We felt privileged to have the time to stand in the square and just watch the people passing, wondering about their various lifestyles so different from ours. But eventually it was another day, and we had a long trip ahead of us. But before we had gone too far, we were allowed to stop and check up on the local primates. And I'm not sure what we were looking for here. Then it is onward, past the sheep pasture, the agricultural fields, and the Atlas Mountains, still with snow on the peaks. We would have liked to meet the Berber family whose home this was, but no one seemed to be around.
There doesn't seem to be anyone in, it's all shut up, so if you want to go get a photo.
The land was getting higher now, but it was very pleasant enjoying our picnic lunch. At the next stop, we were shown how to arrange our turbans to protect us from the sandstorms. Then we passed the Kasbah-style villages built from the only local material available.
So all these buildings joined together, and within that complex there will be the mosque and the little Quranic school for kids and everything. When they get to a certain size, they stop and they'll build another one just next door. It's to do with manageability because they'll be sort of ahead of the village.
But eventually we arrived at Erfoud, where we had to change to a four-wheel drive vehicle capable of travelling through the sand dunes. The land here is best suited to travel by camel, but we couldn't resist exploring a little on foot. Here we had a new guide, one of the Berber people, dressed in their traditional blue. But the mint tea served was the same as usual. And we had come here in time to watch the setting sun, a fitting end to a long day.